So, I want to expand on it in another context, what we're talking about, authenticity, sincerity, trusting relationships in the context of networking, also in the context of interviewing, right? And to the young people listening out there or watching us, to me, when you're preparing for an interview, and maybe you can expand if relevant to you, what is the interviewer looking for? Yeah, they're looking for some technical knowledge and can I take a photo and make it look nice? But I believe, and I'd love your thoughts on this, can I see myself working with this individual at our firm or in our environment, and is the authenticity and sincerity, or are they just feeding me a bunch of BS? Yeah. Because, and I've done a lot of interview, you have as well, we all have, right? They can see through that. Yeah. So to what extent is that, coming across even in the interview? Yeah. Is that something you tried to do?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, I've had multiple interviews, and at this point I don't interview in the typical sense, like for a job.
You interview every time you go for a job.
Well, exactly. That's what I'd say. Every time I talk to somebody, it's a mini interview of how could I help you and what do we need. But my first interview with that software company, they were like, "What's your motivation?" At the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do fully. So like, what's one of your motivations that you want to do the shop? I was like, money. I was like, you can make a lot of money in selling software, so that's part of it. They're like, oh, great, like that we love that, which. For that world, that was what it was for. So genuinely, I was like, this is why I'm here. I'm here to make money. I don't know. I don't have a passion for executive level software, but I want to make money. There's probably a lot of cool people at the company. It's interesting. And who knows, maybe I'll start to enjoy it, enjoy the field more. And they love that, right? When I went to, I didn't really have to interview for the real estate because it was with my friend. But when he was talking to me saying like, why do you really want to do this? Genuinely, I was like, well, I just always liked it. My dad is he's a builder in New York City, so very into architecture and things like that. He builds giant buildings all across the city. So I always had a love for that world. And I was like, look, I think it's really interesting. I think it's really cool getting people into a home or an apartment that they love, and it's the start of maybe a family or right out of college or looking for a good place. I want to be part of that. But also, you can make a lot of money, right? At that point, that was a big focus for me, was trying to just save as much money as I could. So, I mean, I think I think just being genuine in an interview is so important because like you said, if I start saying all these things, it's like, this is like a script, it just doesn't feel real.
So many people say what they think you want them to say, not what they should say.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, we talk about authenticity. I always hear this in the management training that I do. Yeah. Where people say, well, those words don't sound like me, whatever that technique to have that conversation. And I'm always saying, we have to translate it into your language. Yeah. Because if it's not your language, it's not going to be received the way you want it to be received, even though it might sound beautiful. If it comes out of you and it's clumsy and it's not, oh, where'd you get that? Where'd you pick up that line from? Right? So you always have to make things into your own language, true to who you are and what, what you were just saying, right? That you were very honest in that interview. Right. I'm looking to make money. Yeah. So who can argue with honesty? Right. They may say, oh, we're looking for someone who is what? Who tells us what we want to hear, who says, I want to be part of a company for my whole career and I love, X, Y, and Z. But the job was smiling for dollars, right? And that's what it is. Yeah. So if you don't have a hunger for making money, right? And then then what are you doing sitting in that seat?
Exactly. Especially in that role, right?
Exactly. And then when I interviewed, I interviewed for the New York Jets at one point. And we had a great conversation.
They're terrible, by the way. But
as a lifelong Jets fan,
including last night.
We're all suffering.
But I interviewed to be a photo intern for them. This was like 3 years ago. So I was at the point where I was like, I just want to take photos. I was still at a corporate job, and I just wanted to take photos. I was like, I'll become an intern for a season and just get experience. And they were like, why are you're 20, I was 24, 25 at the time. Why are you interviewing for an internship position? You already have all this experience in photography. And then at that point, obviously it's not about money anymore. It's about, I want the experience. I want to be part of not that the Jets at the moment are any, historic franchise right now, but I wanted to be part of, the New York Jets. I wanted to be able to tell the story.
Yeah.
So, that was me being honest of like, this isn't about money. I just want to be part of this and gain experience. And it didn't work out, unfortunately, but
But you were being authentic. You were being honest.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's very good. One other thing in the interview, just to come back, and we alluded to it, if you come with script in your preparation, the interviewer doesn't want to hear that, right? Yeah. But if you come with maybe a prompt, a bullet, when they ask me this, I'm going to be sincere and authentic, and I'm going to deliver this. I've done my research, but I think so many young people today, they think they need to be scripted and delivered. To your point, right?
Yeah.
No, you need to, and maybe you had a prompt. You want to show you've done your research, right, for the interview, but back to this sincere and authentic, run with it, but be yourself, right?
Yeah. It's always interesting because it's where is the line between being confident and overconfident?
Your favorite word, yeah.
Right, confident.
Yeah. Right, you want to be confident, right, because you did prepare and you're there because you're genuinely interested. But it's where that line is, some of that over prep can make you feel like you're overconfident because you're so, scripted that, it doesn't feel like you can, if they ask me a question that I haven't prepared for, I have no answer for it.
Right. And it just goes back to being genuine confidence.
Yeah.
And another thing we talk about is branding. And I'm so interested to know how you brand your photography so that you differentiate yourself in a marketplace that's really saturated with a lot of photographers.
To me, everyone's good. If you're at the level I'm at, everybody is, not that I'm the best photographer in New York or anything like that, but just the level that I've gotten myself.
We'll cut that out, by the way. Yeah. You are the best photographer in New York.
Yeah. Perfect.
Put that in.
Yeah, keep that in. That'll be the headline. No,
this is where your phone number flashes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right about here.
No, everybody at my level, all my peers, everyone's right here.
There's competency,
100%. So how do I differentiate myself? Why should people hire me? It's me. The work speaks for itself. You could go to me, the next person, and we're all going to give you exactly what you want. But it's, do you like working with me or do you like working with that person? Which, ties back to just being genuine and having relationships. I want to be the person known. Of course, I want my work to show for itself, but I also want here's a plug. My Jarrett Mark Photography. Mark is my middle name. Jarrett Mark Photography is my company. The reason I have it associated with my name is because it's me. Yeah. Right? I know a lot of people, nothing against them. They have, names for their companies, and in terms of getting, certain clients, hopefully one day I'll be at that point where I might have to change my name. But, that's that. For me right now, my brand is me, and it's who I am as a person and the work that I could provide for you. So just being genuine and creating those relationships, I think, is what sets me apart, where I think I've met other people where it's, the work is outstanding, but no one really wants to be around them, but they hire them because they know they'll get good work, and then it's all right, we're done. Whereas me, I strive for it not to be like that.
So let's talk about mentors. How important was mentoring to you on this journey, and at what levels?
It's interesting because my mentors were not in the photography or creative space at all. I had mentors, people I watched, right, YouTube and things like that, these famous influencers or personalities who are in the space, that's where I learned how to shoot, how to edit, how to do everything. So I look at those as not mentors, but like abstract coaches that, I don't know how to do this. Let me go search how they did it.
That's different, right?
It's different. But my mentors, you mentioned it before, coming from an entrepreneurial family. Not that I don't have too many entrepreneurs in my family, but everybody has a different job. Everyone in my family, we have a joke that if you come to our family, you could get whatever you need. We have doctors, lawyers, like architects, everything, whatever. So my mentor, my brother, he owns his own physical therapy practice out in Michigan, fully by himself. He's in the process of expanding. So I mean, that's in terms of learning how to run your own business. That my brother is my biggest mentor. Obviously, my parents having the confidence in me to do this and follow my dreams. And I think just being comfortable in a position where it's not the norm, right? Like my dad, I mentioned before, is a builder in New York. That's not a typical job. I mean, obviously there's a ton of people who do it, but it's not, quote unquote, the typical job that most kids are going to be like, oh, I want to become, build skyscrapers. Both my mom and my aunt were preschool teachers, right? Just different. We have a chiropractor, an occupational therapist. Everybody went a different route. So I think in my life, my mentors are the people who chose to do something different.
Interesting.
Rather than, I'm just going to do finance, I'm going to do business, I'm going to figure it out, I'm going to go to law school, which is, everything is great. But everybody in my family had the confidence to be like, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go do this. I have a cousin who's my age who changed jobs 3 times, found something she loved, and she's thriving in it. So I have a cousin who's a hairstylist and does amazing out in Long Island. So it's just, everybody is just on a different path. I think it's so cool.
That is unique as I think about it, because often, all the time, we hear, right? Well, my parents told me from day one, and I need to be an investment banker, right? I'll come back to that again. So I guess I'm going to be an investment banker.
Right.
But I think it's refreshing, right, to have your tutelage be, I'm okay. The people that are important to me are okay with, because they are doing a lot of different things. I like that.
And they said, you do whatever you want to do, but you better do it. There's no half-assing it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to do it, you got to go for it. So that's been in terms of mentorship, that's by far the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. We got a couple minutes left here. Biggest failure, and how'd you recover? In your career to date, as those out there always fearing, I failed. How did I recover?
I don't know if it's a...
Failure is a strong word.
Yeah,
you can run with it as you like.
Yeah. I think the big... I don't want to say a mistake because it led me to where I am now, but I think... And I'm not going to say I wish I started it sooner. I'm nothing like that. I think for me, I made a lot of mistakes in trying to juggle too many things at once. So what I mean by that is, I know I mentioned it before, where I had corporate jobs and I was doing this on the side. And then I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this corporate job. Maybe I want to do this corporate job. And I think I made the mistake of trying to find a purpose somewhere where I knew I wasn't going to find it. So my first job out of school, I knew I was like, okay, I'm going to do this until I'm young. It's fine. And then after that, I wanted to work in sports. So then I worked for the custom apparel company where we produce sports apparel. And I was like, I'm trying to find purpose and I want to be in that world, but why am I doing it here? So then I wanted to do real estate, and I was like trying to find purpose, but I'm still cold calling people. I still got to call people, and I'm still sitting at a desk a lot of the time. And it's great when I'm out and I'm at a showing or something like that. But this is not most of the job in real estate. People don't really sometimes realize is you got to make a lot of calls, and you got to, it's a lot of desk work and things like that.
Sure.
So I was trying to find purpose in what I wanted to do in places where I knew I wasn't going to find it. I knew going into real estate, my goal going into real estate was I'm going to be a realtor, and then do real estate media for all of my listings and for all my team's listings. So subconsciously I knew the meaning was in the media side of it, but I was like, oh, this was an entryway, which in a sense is a great way to step into that world. But I was grabbing at things that I knew wasn't. So I think that was I was making those mistakes over and over again.
Makes sense.
Trial and error. It sounds like trial and error.
It is trial and error.
Yeah.
Which I think
there's nothing wrong with that.
We've talked about this for 25 years, right? Where's the focus?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do?
Right.
Yeah.
But I commend you because you actually had these corporate positions where you stayed there for a while, you excelled, you gained confidence in what you were doing, you gained skills, and then you took that after a while and said, I'm ready to do it on my own.
Right. And I am, sorry, I think back, I don't regret anything, but I think back and I wonder, was I ready before I actually made the decision? Maybe I waited too long. Maybe I didn't wait long enough, right? Things like that. So I always think about that. Obviously today I'm happy with how everything turned out, but there were a few instances where, I mean, really quick story, my last job I had for that company where I was going around shooting luxury resorts and hotels, my plan was to leave about 3 months before I left, or 3 months after I left. A few things happened and I basically got, it was like a mutual split. I got laid off and I was like, okay, I'm ready to leave anyway. That was in November of last year. The plan was to leave in January of this year. So I wanted a couple more months and just to do a couple more things. When I split from that job, I kind of made, that was going back to what you asked me actually about what was the turning point. Yeah. That was the final turning point. I remember I was sitting at my desk here in the city in my apartment and had the meeting where that was it. I called my parents and I was like, I'm done. This is it. I'm working for myself now. And they're like, are you sure? And I was like, give me 3 months, 3-4 months. Let me do this. I'll consider it again. And then by the end of January, it was no going back. So I think, that it was just funny how things kind of pop up like that. And you never really know when the right time is. But for me, that was it.
And Richard, I think it goes back to what you said earlier. There's in the gut, you kind of know where you want to get to, at least for now, right? And it's got to feel right in the tummy. Yeah. But we'll bring you back who knows, you're 28?
Yeah.
How do you know, right, where it's going now? Right. But it sounds like, for now, it feels pretty right in the tummy.
100%.
And
you got to get there, huh?
You got to feel right in the wallet,
too. True, that's a given.
Yes,
right?
In my first year of working for myself, I've nearly doubled what I was making at my last company. So
awesome.
But that goes to show when you do something that you truly love, it'll come. The success will come.
Right, to those out there.
I was going to just share the one, just reflecting up. During that period of time, there are people who are comfortable with the ambiguity of all of it. Where is this all leading? Yeah. I know I have a vision, but I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to get there.
They're okay with that.
I go 2 steps forward, a step back. I go half a step forward, half a step back. Right, being comfortable with the ambiguity of getting to your destination. It's not common, right? And people have different risk tolerance. And needs, right? When we look at what you're able to do, what risk you can take financially. But that comfort with saying, I'm so clear as to what I'm working towards that these steps along the way, I know while it may not be as fast as I wanted to get there, I'm still moving towards it. Yeah. And you just know that's happening.
Right. Yeah. And we've talked about this theme before. It was one of our earlier episodes. Careers are iterative; they're not linear, right? Yes. And you can't define it up front. Exactly. So to the folks out there listening that are stressing, right? I've got to do this, and I've got to be comfortable. I think what we've learned in this discussion today, Jarrett, is reiterating: you get there, but ultimately you want it to feel right in the tummy, but it might not be there right from the beginning.
Right, and that's a great place to be. So I really want to thank you. I thought this episode was great. We had some real conversations about somebody who had ups and downs, but started their own business. And you can take a lot of lessons from that. If you're an early career professional, there will be ups and downs. You have to persevere. You have to have that confidence. So thank you, Jarrett.
Yeah,
thank you, Richard.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll be back with a new episode on the 1st and the 15th of every month. Bill?
Where do they find us? I always ask you this.
They can
you
find
know where to find us. Where do they find us?
They can find us on YouTube. Any place you can listen to podcasts, we're there as Bill and Jerry's excellent podcast, a.k.a. Spilling the Career Tea. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.